So today, after recording my video on JavaScript object destructuring tips, I found a comment which I found it interesting. Someone wanted me to create a destructuring for a deep nested kind of object from an API. So out of that's why I'm recording this new video, to just show you and take you through that. So let's get deep down into it. So also you can like, comment and share, and also give me a thumbs up as we do this. So I'll open my VS Code. You can go together with me and let's do this. So I'll create a project. Let me create a new app by the name of it's called Destructure nested. So I'll just create a folder there, then I'll open that folder in VS Code. So you can go together with me, and then in here into my folder I'll just create a new file. Let's put JavaScript in HTML. So I'll just have my index file here, and then inside I can create a JavaScript folder, or maybe you can yeah, it's a good practice to always organize your work. So that's how I'll do. I'll just create a folder, and then inside the folder I'll put my app.js, and then on the HTML I'll just create the longer HTML text. So in here, if you run this one on direct runner, an extension, so let's see. So you'll see nothing is there. So let me just do a div. Then out of the div, let me do a h2. You can say object destructuring. Sorry, I have some fever, so today my voice is not very good, but we'll keep going. So in object destructuring, let me just put things a bit organized. I'll have a HR here to just get things going. Text align. Center, yeah. So that's just a styling for this, and then after this I'll just have somewhere I'm putting my content. Put the color to green. So it's not a must to do this, but I just like doing being a bit organized, so that you can easily see it. So here is where I'll put my content. That's where my content should be. So this one, text color. Sorry, this is text color. Let me say color. Yeah, and then maybe I can say font size. I can say extra large, so that you can see. So this is where I want to print all those stuffs, but at the same time those content I'll be logging them onto console, so you can see my console. You can open your console that way. So also this one you can just open it directly onto your browser, so that you can see that. So let's go to JavaScript. So you'll see if I do a console log here, first let me import it into this body. I just say script, and then I can use the other one, say script source, and then I say JS. It was inside the JS folder, and then it was called app.js. So once I import that, let me try console log here and see. So you'll see once I console log, you can see my content in here. So it exactly it worked. So it logged that information. So let's get it done. So today I want to pick from an API. So I found a dummy API here, out of this one, dummyjson.com. Here you can find some free API to play. Is like to play with. It's like a playground. So I'll pick one for users, because you see now this one has a lot of data inside. like a lot of nested data, like the here is nested, the address is nested, the first layer, and then there's the second level here. So I liked using this one. At least it will give us what we want to do. So we want to do destructuring and try to find something like latitude or longitude inside this. And so from here we'll just call this from an API and see. So let me call this one using fetch. So what you just do, I'll just say here I'll just create a constant and there say this is a constant user, and then I'll use my fetch API to get the exact user. So in here you just put the URL the same way. You can even decide to copy this one, what they have, and paste it there. And so fetch usually will give you fetch will return for you a promise. This is a synchronous JavaScript. So for example, if I console log the user here, if I console log the user here, you'll find that yeah, here we get returned. We have returned a promise, which is either can be fulfilled, resolved, or maybe not resolved. So out of that, let's now try to fetch this data and get our data back onto our variable. So because it returns promises, so we need to do .then at least to get usually we do .then and .catch for the errors and then for the result. So in here we'll find a result, and then we can return result or response.json. You convert it to JSON because we're expecting a JSON back. So you'll see, and out of that then we'll also need to convert this so that we can get some data. Let me just try and I want to do it asynchronously so that at least this one we can wait for this result because it returns a promise. So what I'll do, I'll just create a function here. I'll just use ES6 and create an arrow function. So I'll say this function, my function is get user, and then out of this I want to return now. So I'll just keep this one inside it. I say this is the user, but now I want to put this one as an asynchronous method, so that at least in here out of a synchronous function I can do await, and then I wait for this data unless now until now I get a response using this .then. That's when now I can have a response, and that's how I'll be able to display it. So after that, now this get user, I'm not logging here, so what I'll just do, I'll just log get user function and then you'll see out of that, yeah, so here we have this one .then it will return this, it will return a JSON, and then out of that we can, so this is the user. I've not returned this, so what I'll just do, I'll just return this user so that you can see so that you can see that we have. So out of that, there's one thing I need to do, because we have this asynchronous method run here, and then we get some results, and after getting that result, we are not able to now we are supposed at least to initialize this. So this function will run, but it will still return a promise. So you can create another function at least to help us render this user, so that we can display our content. So I'll create a function and say this one I'll call it render user, because I'm still finding a promise. So that means I need another sync await method here at least to get that done. So this one I'll keep it as a sync, and then it will return for me. This is where I'm supposed now to. So what I'll just do, I'll just be rendering, I'll just be running this render user. But before that, let me first try to find this particular user. So I'll say the user equals to this one. You should await for this get user, because this is a function. So also it will still return a promise, which I need to wait for it at least to get the data out. Then I can try now to console log user. So out of these, I'll need to run now this render user function. So once I run that, at least I'm expecting some output. So out of that, as you can see, we are having an output here. So we are having an object. So what happened, this render user function is what we are running, and then is an asynchronous method which will await. So it will wait for this till this promise is resolved. That's when it will give us the user data into this, and then after that it will log the user. So out of this this is where now we can say we can get this data. So before that, let me try first output something on the, just to, after this, maybe say after logging that, I just need it to, let me pick the document dot let's find this item by ID. Let's get element by ID, and then we give this an ID, where we had content in here. Yeah, we give it an ID. We say this is my content, where I need my content to be displayed. Yeah, so after that I'll pick this ID, and then I want to change that. I'll say find by ID. So I want to say this one dot in HTML, or the HTML itself, I want it to be, let's say some test, and you see how it goes. So yeah, so you see after I run this, it will update our function here and update now our text to Samson text. So that one picked the text automatically and updated it. So I will want to output two ways. I'll output it on the console, and also I'll give you the result in here on the UI. So these two is what I'll be doing. So now I hope you understood up to that. Now we start our destructuring on how we can now destructure this user object. So as you can see, once we log this user, you'll see the various items inside the user. So it's the same thing when you go to, if you pick this URL and try to fetch, you'll find the same result in here with a lot of JSON data with user and stuff. So out of this, what I want to find is, I want to go inside users, and then inside one user, because no, this one fetched all users. So let me pick the one for single user, so that we work on a single user. So get a single user, you just go to their documentation, then go to a single user, then you'll find this. So copy this, then this one at least will give us one user. So if we tap on this, at least we'll have one user to work on. So as you can see, and so what I want to pick from this user is just this address first. I pick this address, then we see, we play around with the data, and then we see. Yeah, so that being said, so if I tap that one, you'll see, yeah, so I want this address of this user. So let's see out of all the entire array, let's see the output you're getting. So if I refresh this, it will wait for that return, and then it will give me no, I didn't replace this, so let me replace it to get the first user here. So you'll see we have the first user here, and then this first user has the ID, the first name, blah blah blah, to address and whatever. So let's try now Destructure. So as you remember from my previous video, for example, let me just destructure all these, and then say is equals to user. So you can check it on the link on the previous video and see how we were doing the destructuring. So for example, if we want to get the ID of a user, I'll just destructure by putting the ID here, and then I can log the ID. Let me log the ID, you see. So you'll just find that it will log for me the ID. If I want the first name, for example, you remember from the last tutorial, we were doing the first name, and then I can log the first name here. So if I do that, you'll find Terry is the first name for this particular user. So how do we now do the nested one? For example, if I want to get the address or the hair, for example, I just say the same way we were doing. For example, I want to get hair and then the data. So if I do this one, I say here, and then I tap on this. Let's see the result. You'll find we have now the item for the entire the object for the air is returned here, the color and the type. So out of this one, now we can go into the nested and pick the color. So how are we doing that? So we were saying if I want the color, we say the hair, and then a colon, and then in a curly braces I say I want the color. So if I output this color now, I'm supposed to so this one is supposed to be inside our function, sorry for that, in here. So after that, I can now say I want the color of the hair, for example, as my output. So if I run that, it's see black, and if I use the same on our HTML page, you'll find here it's black. So that's it for the color. Now assume now we have our second level and the third level. So this was the first level here. That's very okay. Now let's do it for the next level, assuming now we are going deep down. So I'll avoid here, and maybe I use address, which has a lot. So I'll say, for example, I want the address, and then if I try to output this address, let's say this, I don't know if the HTML will change based on the address itself. It will give us an object, so I need at least to say address dot something like a city or something like that. So I'll say maybe address dot city to just get it on the HTML as Washington. So that's it. So now I want to go deeper into address. So let's see what address has. So address has inside address there's address, city, and coordinates. So I can get address by doing this. I can just say inside address I want the address, or maybe I want the city, and then now I can print this city directly onto the console log, and also I can now do a direct print in here on the city. So you'll see there's city here and there's city here. Now assuming I want to go deeper and pick the coordinates, how will I do it? So this is for the city. Now for the coordinate, I'll just say address, and then inside address I have coordinates. So that will give me the coordinates object, and then inside coordinate also I might want to go deeper and say I want to pick the latitude, for example. I want to pick the latitude inside the coordinate. So doing this, I can now extract this latitude. So that's how it goes in and in. So if I save that, you'll find let me see coordinates and then latitude. Let me see how it goes. So we are on address, so we are on address and then address. So I'll just go first after address, we go in and we find address. Then after this address, we find the coordinate, and then inside coordinate we find the latitude. I hope you got that. I'll repeat it again. So let me try and repeat it. We go slow by slow. Let me remove the city first. So we go level by level, that it becomes easier. So inside address there's address. So I'll do first address. Inside address there's coordinate. So I'll do first address and coordinate. So I'll do address, and then I'll do the coordinates. And then I can print the coordinates here for you to see. Coordinates dot latitude. Let me see if that one printed. Not really. There's a problem somewhere here. Need another extra curly braces. Yeah. So you see inside inside the address, or inside the coordinates, inside address we have coordinates. If I output coordinates, you can find these, and if I output the latitude, at least you can see this. So I want to go now one level inside. So I'll say now if I have this, what of inside now the coordinate itself. So I can still do this and say yeah, I want the latitude. So let's see if we'll get some data out of that. Yeah, you see, so here we'll find the latitude after we say now inside coordinate do the latitude. Let's try out something with maybe we find if there's any with 3 levels. That's the first level and then the second level. Let's see if there's something with 3 levels. I don't see anything with 3 levels. But now assuming we had That's 2 levels. So assuming we had this data, a latitude has another, maybe say x and y figure. So you just go inside latitude, you just use the same format. This is the format. You just say maybe inside latitude there is another array, for example. Assuming this was it, let's say inside this one latitude we had another maybe item or value or something like that. Let's say it was like this coordinates, and then inside coordinate we had latitude, which is blah blah blah, or let's say latitude. Then latitude has its value as x, x maybe is 1, and then maybe it has y is 9 inside the coordinates. So what we'll just do for this case, we just pick again, we'll go pick the latitude. So we'll just go inside coordinates, we have the latitude here. So this is the scope that we are using. So inside this scope we repeat the same format. So we'll say inside this scope for latitude we want to get x out of latitude, and then if we print x it will give us 2. So guys, that's how you do a nested data destructuring inside a nested array. So I hope you found that that content helpful, and I wish to see you soon. So thank you guys. Like, subscribe, share, comment. If you feel there's something else we want to understand as developers, let us have a chat and let's do it. Cheers. Boom.